Who doesn't love Friday baseball? This is Krusty K's here from the Gold Boys Network coming to the slate preview for May 31st. Before we hop into this, I want to let everybody know you can get all these odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. Without further ado, let's jump right into this slate. The first one on our slate is the Chicago Cubs taking on Cincinnati Reds. For me here, Cubs coming off a tough series against Milwaukee. They're not playing really well right now. But you get Javier Assad taking on Graham Ashcraft, and I just don't see how you don't back the Cubs here. Assad has been really good, arguably their best starter, prior to Steele coming back. And I just feel like this is that spot where, he goes out, he spins a gem, and he gets his team a win. I think you can look at his strikeouts here. This Reds team on the season, pretty K-heavy, especially on the road. So I like Assad Ks. I like the Cubs on the money line. It's a little juiced. So I wouldn't be opposed to a player performance double if you don't want to lay the minus 150. Our next one is the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. This is Miles McCollum versus Aaron Nola. As much as I don't like Aaron Nola, I'm gonna go with the Phillies here, minus 1.5. I just think McCollum gets touched up. Heavily reliant on the sinker ball, and this Phillies team is built with guys who can mash that pitch. So for me here, Phillies at home. If you're gonna back Nola, in my opinion, it has to be at home. So I like the Phillies minus 1.5. I think they get the win here. I think McCollum gets absolutely smoked. And I think Nola does enough to keep the Cardinals from keeping up with them. Our next one is the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Baltimore Orioles. This is Aaron Savale versus Albert Suarez. So Suarez making another spot start here for Baltimore. He looked pretty good in his last one, not going to lie to you. Only went about 3 innings, so I don't expect him to go very deep into this one either. But, maybe 4, maybe even 5 potentially, kind of see where the pitch count's at. I do think that Baltimore can win this game, but I'm going to go with the Baltimore team total over. So Savale hasn't been nearly as good this season as we saw last year and struggles with lefties. He's going to see a ton of lefties in this lineup. So I really like the Orioles to get their bats going, especially at home. I think they score, 5-6 easy here. Give me the Orioles team total. In terms of the Ks and the pitchers here, no real love for either guy. Maybe a very small lean to Suarez over his Ks, depending on what the line's at. Just because you're getting Tampa Bay in a weird spot here. They're coming off an extra inning game. You could be tired, I guess. I don't know, travel spot. But the game is in the evening, so I'm not as concerned about the tiredness. But sometimes, like we kind of saw with the Tigers after that doubleheader and having to travel to Boston, I'm not sure their bats have gotten off the plane yet. Our next one is the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on Toronto Blue Jays. This is Bailey Falter versus Jose Barrios. I was a little surprised to see Toronto is only a minus 160 favorite here. I guess maybe because maybe they're just not that good. But still, it was a little surprising. Barrios obviously been outstanding. I like Toronto here. I'm going to go with Barrios 5 or 6 strikeouts. I'm not sure. The K-prop isn't out yet, so I'm not sure on the odds. But whichever one gets you closest to even money, 5 or 6 strikeouts and the win, I think it's a great look. I love Barrios in the spot. Pirates, at home, they're actually pretty K-adverse. On the road, they are terrible. Second highest K per 9 in all of baseball. So I really like Barrios here to get us, whatever it is, 5 or 6 strikeouts. And I like Toronto to get the win. Even if Falter probably somehow shuts them down for the 5 innings he's in, because let's be honest, Bailey Falter is one of those guys where you want to fade him, and then you look up and, 5-6 innings into the game, he's allowed 1 run. So give me Toronto here. Like I said, player performance double with Barrios. I love it. Hopefully they can get to Bailey sooner rather than later. Our next one is the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the New York Mets. This is Jordan Montgomery versus Luis Severino. I really like this matchup. Obviously the Mets, not a team that anybody's looking to back right now. They're not playing very well. We do catch them favored here, which I guess I was a little surprised by, just because Diamondbacks, in my opinion, are the better team. Maybe not right now, but I just think when it's all said and done, Diamondbacks have more potential in terms of a postseason than the Mets do. So for me here, I am going to go Diamondbacks on the money line as a dog. I love Jordan Montgomery. This is just a guy who knows how to work. He knows how to limit hard contact. And I like him against this Mets team who just really is scuffling right now. Alonso didn't play today. I'm not sure if he's going to play in this game. But if he's out, it just only makes it better, obviously, because it's one less bat to worry about. But I just like Diamondbacks here plus money. They're notoriously bad in the first game of the series, And I mean, this is obviously the second game, so hopefully they can get us a win here. The one thing I do want to say, Gallen got hurt. I don't know if anybody saw that, but he got hurt in the first inning. So they had to use the bullpen to eat up basically 9 innings because he only threw 6 pitches. So Jordan Montgomery pitching out, if it's at 17 and a half, 6 innings, that is a must play in my opinion. He has the leash already where he's going to throw, probably upwards of 95 pitches to 100 relatively easily if he needs it. And this is a spot where they're going to need it. So the Mets on like bottom 5 in pitch per plate appearance. So they do see a lot of short at bats. Montgomery works pretty efficiently he's like top 50 in efficiency. So I really, really like that pitching outs for him here.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Our next one is the Detroit Tigers taking on the Boston Red Sox. This is Kenta Maeda versus Tanner Houck. Sorry. For me here, I'm going Boston. Kenta Maeda, he hasn't been really good this season. He's actually looked pretty good his last couple starts. Been kind of moved around a bit, getting a start here when he was supposed to start the other day. So I'm a little curious how he's going to be off of like the awkward rest because you see a lot of these guys, pitchers, definitely creatures of habit. And so when you see a guy that's like not pitching on normal rest, sometimes they can get messed up. I know the Cubs were blaming that for Imanaga's poor performance against the Brewers. So I mean, who knows? Maybe Maeda won't look good either. But regardless, I just like Tanner Houck. Guy's been absolutely outstanding, especially seeing teams for the first time this season. Been damn near lights out. So give me Boston here. I like the money line. I think it's like minus 140 currently. So I would definitely get that one in because I expect that to move upwards of minus 150 by the time the game starts. Tanner Houck strikeouts, I think they're 100% in play. Tigers are one of those teams, extreme home and road splits on the road, one of the worst teams in baseball. So I do love Houck strikeouts here. That splitter is going to cause fits for this team. Our next one is the Texas Rangers taking on Miami Marlins. This is Jose Urena versus Sixto Sanchez. This could be the grossest pitching matchup I've ever had to talk about on this show since we started. As much as I want to go to the over, I don't trust Texas, man. I've looked at this game. I was looking at it earlier today. I looked at it again right before I started recording this. And as much as I want to take the over, Texas is just, oh my God. I mean, Seager finally heating up, but there's just something about this. I don't know. Like, I don't want to call the Sixto Sanchez masterclass, but for some reason in my head, I'm just envisioning them not scoring here, and I'm having a really hard time with it. So I do lean over in the game total over, but I'm going to give you guys Marlins team total. So Jose Urena, we've all seen him, kind of a MLB journeyman type guy. Balls are going to be put in play. This Miami team quietly crushing righties as well. So I love it. I love the spot for Miami. Like I said, I do lean full game over, but something in my head is just backing the full game over for fear that Texas just lays an egg. So I'm going to go with Miami team total. I think it's, in my opinion, the best option here. But I couldn't say no to the over if you decide to take the full game over at 8.5. That feels low to me. Our next one is the Washington Nationals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. This is Patrick Corbin versus Tanner Bybee. Cleveland at a minus 210 seems absolutely absurd to me. I know they're good, but I mean, my goodness. I'm going to go Cleveland team total here. I like them to score some runs. Patrick Corbin, we all know it's Fave Patrick Corbin Day. Probably the best day of the week. I like Cleveland to put up runs. I think they win this game. I have no interest in backing them on the run line personally. And obviously I'm not laying minus 210 on the money line. So give me the Cleveland Guardians to score some runs. In terms of Ks, Washington has been striking out a lot more as of late. Actually, like, I believe 7th highest over the last 2 weeks. So pending lineup, I could be in on Bybee strikeouts. Definitely. Our next one is the Oakland Athletics taking on the Atlanta Braves. This is JP Sears versus Ronaldo Lopez. Braves that are minus 215. if you've been watching the Braves play, you know they are not looking like the Braves that we all know and love to bet on. So, for me here, reluctantly, I'm going to go with the first 5 under. Braves just are not hitting right now. Sears, in my opinion, is one of those guys, for Oakland. He's going to come out and he has those games where he just pitches really well. And this feels like a good spot for him. It really does. Because like I said, the Braves just aren't hitting right now. So it's a spot where I believe JP Sears can take advantage. On the other side, I just think Ronaldo Lopez, he's going to be on normal rest, which is what they wanted. They pushed him back a day. And I think he could pitch really well against this Oakland team who's not hitting either. So I expect a low-scoring first 5 with these 2 starters in. What happens beyond that, I don't care because we're going to be long gone counting our money. But I like that. And then kind of rolling into that first 5 under, I like the strikeouts for both guys too. You get 2 teams here, both top 5 in terms of the highest K percent, versus the respective hands. Braves a little bit better versus left-handed pitching, but haven't seen a lot of good lefties, and I think that JP Sears changeup definitely going to play a factor here. So I like the case for both guys, but I love the first 5 under. Our next one, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. This is Eric Fetty versus Tobias Myers. It's fade the White Sox all day long in this household. Okay, as a White Sox fan, I can say it, they suck. They've lost 8 in a row, 15-45 on the season. So, well on their way to losing 100 games. Why not? Give me the Brewers team total here. Fetty started the season, his hair on fire. He's regressing to what we all expected. He's just the same old Fetty. He's going to give it up here. This Brewers team is crushing righties the last 2 weeks. WRC plus like 115, batting average around 280. They are crushing righties, and Fetty is in for a nightmarish kind of game here, in my opinion. We saw them absolutely assault the Cubs in a 4-game series, and I think that it continues right into this. They get to stay at home, welcome in the White Sox, and they get to beat the doors off of Eric Fetty tomorrow. So give me the Brewers team total here. I think they cover it with relative ease. Our next one is the Minnesota Twins taking on the Houston Astros. This is Pablo Lopez versus Ronel Blanco. Houston a playable minus 115 on the money line. I was really confused by this line. I wasn't sure if it was going to be, if I should consider it respect for Pablo Lopez in the sense that Houston's a short favorite, or the fact that Pablo Lopez isn't favored over Ronel Blanco coming, 1 start removed from the sticky incident. So for me in this one, I'm going to go with the Astros. Pablo Lopez just hasn't looked good to me this season, and I think there's a spot where he can definitely struggle. We've seen it where he's just been super inefficient in his last couple starts, wasting a ton of pitches, and against this Houston team, man, that's just not a team you can afford to do that against. On top of that, he struggled against lefties overall throughout much of his career, and you're going to see 2 of the best lefty hitters in baseball in Jordan and Kyle Tucker. So I like the Astros here to get this win. Minus 115 on the money line, I think it's a great price. And Ronel Blanco, this is a guy that Twins haven't seen. So I think that changeup plays really well here. Sticky or no sticky. And I ultimately think Houston gets the win. In terms of strikeouts, I like Pablo Lopez under his Ks. And I like Ronel Blanco small lean to the over. This Twins team's been a lot better at the plate. Definitely not K'ing as much as they were. But I think they're susceptible, especially on the road when they're away from target field. Definitely a bit of a more K-friendly team. So I'm real curious to see what Ronel's line's at for this one. Our next one is the San Diego Padres taking on the Kansas City Royals. This is Dylan Cease versus Michael Wacha. I am 100% on the Padres. Dylan Cease, probably one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. Getting them at a great price here at a minus 130 on the money line. They're on the road, but Cease is super familiar with that Kansas City ballpark. Obviously, played in the division, and he absolutely owns this Kansas City lineup. He's going to see a lot of the same guys that he saw when he was with the White Sox. And if you check the BVP, game after game, this guy absolutely shoves against this team. So I like Dylan Cease strikeouts. Obviously, Kansas City back at home, they're a little bit better in terms of being K-verse, actually one of the best teams. But Cease just has this history against them, man. I'm telling you, pull the numbers when you get done with this video. It is incredible to see. So give me Cease Ks, give me the Padres on the money line. They win this one in a big way. Our next one is the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Seattle Mariners. This is Jose Soriano versus Brian Wu. I'm going to go with Seattle here. I like Brian Wu a lot. He's starting to look really good from off his injury. He has like 3 or 4 starts under his belt now. I just like to continue. Angels, as we talked about, man, just, you know, since losing Trout, it's not the same team. And we're going to keep saying it because it's so true. When you watch them play, man, they, you know, they get guys on base from time to time, but they just don't have that bat that can knock them in. And it's funny because when Trout was healthy, they never got guys on base, and Trout was always hitting solo bombs and, you know, having to do it all himself. Well, now they're getting guys on and have no one to drive those guys in. So I'm going to roll with Seattle here on the money line. I like them a lot. I like Brian Wu. In terms of the Ks, I love Jose Soriano strikeouts against the Mariners. If you're not taking overs against the Mariners, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, it's practically a cheat code. You just bet it blind every game. Doesn't matter who the starter is. It could be me out there, you know, over 1.5 Ks. I'm probably going to cover it. I don't know if you've watched Seattle play, but they are absolutely terrible. Strikeout metrics are some of the worst I've ever seen. They're looking to set some historic numbers this season. And I think Soriano has a huge day in terms of Ks. Brian Wu, I'll be curious to see what his line's at. He needs righties. So this Angels team, depending on who they put out, it's kind of a mixed bag. So I definitely need a lineup before I would commit to a Brian Wu K line. But Soriano off the rip, lineup or no lineup, I'm in on the Ks. Our next one is Colorado Rockies taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's Dakota Hudson versus Walker Buehler. Dodgers minus 290 on the money line. I don't have a lot of interest in laying that at all. Walker Buehler doesn't feel very deserving of minus 290. It is the Rockies, but they're playing pretty well, and they've been stealing a lot of people's coin, beating up on these good teams. So, regrettably, I'm going to go with the Rockies plus 1.5, just because Walker Buehler has not looked that good. He got touched up by the Reds in his last start, and this just feels like a spot where, you know, the Rockies quietly hitting a lot better, and I think they can get to Walker Buehler here. That's not saying the Dodgers won't get to Dakota Hudson. Truthfully, I think I lean full game over here as well. I just think I expect a lot of runs, but I think the Rockies overall can keep this one close. So give me the Rockies plus 1.5. It's a disgusting bet. Probably one of the grossest ones I've ever given out, but I mean, if you watch this Rockies team, their rotation, it's a bunch of no-names, and they've quietly all been just pitching really well, giving quality start after quality start. And, I mean, this team's no stranger to going in LA and, you know, pitching some gems. We saw Kyle Freeland do it a couple times, last couple seasons. So maybe Dakota Hudson spins one for us, but regardless, I think the Rockies keep this one close. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our last one is the New York Yankees taking on San Francisco Giants. This is Marcus Stroman versus Jordan Hicks. I'm going to roll with the Giants, man. Jordan Hicks has just been so good. If you haven't been paying attention, because I mean a lot of people don't watch, you know, Giants baseball in my opinion. I don't watch a lot of it, but Jordan Hicks been absolutely outstanding. I mean, obviously it's a tough matchup. It's the Yankees, but he throws a lot of strikes, and for me that's pretty crucial here because you get a Yankee team who, if you're gonna work around the plate and try to nibble, you're gonna find yourself in trouble. So this is a guy who pounds the zone. He attacks the zone. And against the Yankees, you need to because you force them to swing. And because they don't want to. If you watch the Yankees, you know, they see a lot of pitches per plate appearance because they force you to, you know, throw them strikes. Well, if you're just pounding the zone with strikes, you force them to make a decision. And ultimately, you're going to probably pitch better against them too because you're kind of forcing their hand. And I really like that here with Jordan Hicks. So I think the Giants get this one done. Stroman has looked better as of late. But this is a Giants team, similar to the Yankees, extremely patient. They're going to see a lot of pitches, and they have guys who are really swinging it right now against right-handed pitching. So I like the Giants here to get this one done. Probably shock a few people because, you know, the Yankees are rolling. But Giants at home are a tough team, and I think they get the win here. That does conclude our slate, though. If you guys do me a favor, drop a like, drop a comment. I will post the recap going forward for the previous day in the comments on YouTube, and we'll pin it. Just because when I'm recording these now, I'm recording them while the other games are going on. I just had to change my schedule a little bit. So the recap from the previous day will be posted in the comments. As always, you can get all of my official plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, dial 100 Gambler. Thank you guys.